Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to a new exciting episode of the Vinnie Langdon Show. I know I haven't said that in a few months, actually, just been busy, got the holidays coming up. And, after doing this for 17 years, I said, you know what? I deserve a little break, just a little bit. So tonight I am talking with Geoffrey Giuliano. What's going on, man? How are you? Good morning to you.
Thank you. Yes, it is morning here in Bangkok. Really happy to be with you. I feel weird when I don't do interviews. I'm a media whore.
Yeah, I know. It's like, hey, if you're not in the tabloids in, a few days, I mean, something's wrong, right? There you
Yeah.
go. So you are definitely quite the character yourself, Tell us a little bit about your background. You got into the book writing and then you broke into acting, and give us kind of the general timeline, how it all came for you.
Well, I was always an actor, but I didn't know how to go about it. I was married young, and I had two kids by the time I was in my mid-20s. And I understood that you're supposed to go live in Hollywood, but I didn't know how to actually make that happen. And I was close with my wife and children, and I just didn't. I should have, but I didn't. So that put things back about 10 or 15 years, probably. I was living in Toronto, and I had a chance to write a book in the Beatles for want of anything really productive to do, and it became a worldwide, internationally best-selling hit. And so what happened, predicated on that success, was people kept offering me books from 1984 to 2006. And I made a lot of money from those books and got quite famous as a writer. But that was not my focus. My focus was to be an actor. So although I was, rich and had was quite a high profile career, it wasn't really what I wanted to do. It was related, but it wasn't, I wanted to be a straight up actor. So when the book business got killed by the internet, I was early 50s, I think, and around 2000, 2006 or something like that, 7 maybe, I decided, look, all right, I'm just going to have to, if I don't do what I want to do, life is finite in this material body anyway. So I knew I had to make a break. And I walked away from a very, very lucrative career as a writer and biographer and journalist to do what I really wanted to do. And my first movie was Jules Verne, The Mysterious Island, with Patrick Stewart and Kyle MacLachlan for the Hallmark Channel, in which I played a pirate. And then 28 movies ensued. I was well known in Hollywood as a competent character actor, but the public had no consciousness of me whatsoever until Squid Game. And then everything changed.
Interesting. Let's take it back a little bit when you're talking about, that desire to go to Hollywood, because, that is what is portrayed when we hear, oh, these actors, they moved, packed their bags, they left home, they were from a small town, went to
Right.
LA, and they make it big. But the thing is that what's difficult is every actor has different stories and backgrounds of success. Maybe what we don't realize is maybe that actor that we saw that's winning Academy Awards, well, they're winning all those because maybe their great grandfather was an executive producer or had some connection.
Oh, no, you're
you know
absolutely right. This is a huge problem in Hollywood. And my acting teachers told me, don't go to Hollywood. It's all based on nepotism out there. And you're a plumber's son from Buffalo, New York. It's not going to happen. So that I was discouraged, and it was just kind of logistically impossible. I mean, it worked out okay. I mean, it's ridiculous. I was a millionaire by the time I was 30 years old. So living in a mansion and having a boat, and my wife had a small airplane, and we had horses. So, what do you got to complain about? What are you crying about? But it's like, I was like a bird in a golden cage. It wasn't what I wanted to do necessarily. We did a lot of things that were really cool with our money. We had a food bank for the poor. We had an aviary where we collected rare peacocks. We took in dogs and stuff. You know, we did a lot of good. We went to India and fed people. We tried to use the influence and the money and influence that we had in a positive way. My wife, late wife especially. So it was a lot of fun. It was fun living in a big mansion. I used to wake up every morning and look around and go, what the hell am I doing in this house? You know, but you know, as will happen to everyone, life changes dramatically several times within your life, and you have to be able to roll with that. I ended up in Bangkok, finished a relationship of many decades, well, 30 something years with my wife. And now I have a 14-year-old son. I'm a single father. I'm well into my 60s, and it's completely changed. And you know, Squid Game, look, I thought Squid Game was just another assignment. I've done 28 movies. You know, I would go, they would give me money. I would do the movie. They would thank me very much. I would go home. I'd wait about a year and a half for the movie to come out. And then, you know, I'd watch it. My family would watch it. I'd put a clip on my website and I'd move on to the next project, you know, but this didn't happen like that with this one. The whole, you know, it was like I was in the Beatles or something, and everything went crazy. I have not watched Squid Game. You know, I have not watched Squid Game. Actors necessarily, don't let them lie to you. They live in a bubble. You know, there's a degree of healthy narcissism that you have to put yourself out as a performer. So, I mean, I haven't watched Squid Game. I have no desire to watch Squid Game. I watched my part, you know, just crazy enough and
fast
healthy
forward,
enough.
look at my part, move on. Yeah.
Just living in a bubble here.
Now,
So go ahead.
Yeah. Now, what I want to talk about Squid Game is, you know, like you were saying, I mean, I'm an actor myself. And just like you mentioned, people that are not in the industry don't understand. And I love that you make this point, you know, right off the back is you don't know what's going to blow up, you know, and become a hit and not. And as an actor, people got to realize we're doing it because we love to. We don't, yeah, if this movie, you know, becomes a cult icon over in Asia and Europe and everyone's, you know, dressing up for Halloween, wearing the same replica mask that you wore on a set, you know, hey, that's cool. But we do it because we love it. And
there's no, you know, unless you're an A-lister, there's no way to predict that a movie's going to be very, you know, in any way going to move the needle. I have starred in 3 movies that were not released for legal reasons that had nothing to do with me. It's been very frustrating. One, I went all the way to the Cambodian jungles to make. I mean, literally in the jungle, we had snake handlers to make sure cobras didn't bite us when we were filming. I was in Mechanic Resurrection with Tommy Lee Jones and Jason Statham. I had a big part in that, but I acted with 2 little kids, like 9-year-old kids. So in the middle of a take where they're supposed to be terrified of me, they go, "What? Why is that camera moving up there? What is that? There's a crane up there." And it's, "Oh, wow, look at that. That's moving across." And the director would say, whoa, wait, hold on. You got to pretend you don't see that. I knew I was doomed. So they cut me out of the movie, predicated on these 2 children's ability to act terrified, you know? So I had a lot of heartbreaking stuff happen to me. I thought for sure Mechanic Resurrection would move the needle. I was in Scorpion King 3. That probably moved the needle more than anything when they cut the trailer and it was basically me and not Billy Zane from Titanic and not the other stars of the movie. They just, for some reason, focused on me. And I got quite famous from that. But look, I mean, if you were to do this thinking, I will make this movie so I become famous, that's a childish idea. And it will never, ever work. And you'll take fentanyl or something and kill yourself. You just do it, and then the reaction that comes is what comes, you know. In fact, about 3 weeks before Squid Game came out, I was in that bedroom back there, and it wasn't, I don't sleep much, and I was kind of looking out the window in the middle of the night, and I said, well, Jeff, you know, you tried, you gave it your best shot, you went to drama school, you worked for years in dinner theater and Shakespeare in the Park, and you did everything. You're way over 60 now. Buddy, it's not going to happen for you. Just didn't happen for you.
Right.
2 weeks later, it happened.
Boom, when you least expect it.
So
right?
you can't know.
Now, what's interesting is, you know,
Yeah,
you did a few movies, you know, in America, and then when you relocated to Asia, you know, was it hard to break in, or were they like, oh my God, American guy, put him in my movie, you know?
No, just the opposite. There's a trick. When a production comes to Southeast Asia, they'll leave 2 or 3 pretty good parts, and they'll hope that they can cast it locally so they don't have to pay Screen Actors Guild rates to bring somebody over and give them all those tens of thousands of dollars. So those medium parts, I never took a small part, but those medium principal cast, but smaller in the principal cast, they'll cast locally. And I got a reputation that, oh, well, you can get Geoffrey Giuliano. He's a character man. He can do that for you. And so that's why I made movie after movie after. I made about 1 or 2 movies a year for 15 years. So it came to 28. And then what happened with Squid Game is I made this movie, which is a good movie, and I'm good in it, is called Peninsula Train to Busan, which is on Netflix now. And I play what I always play, often, is a hoodlum, mafia guy. And it was a funny thing about that. 3 days before I was to go to Seoul, Korea for the first time to make the Peninsula, I tripped on the curb and landed on my front tooth. Can you imagine landing on your front tooth?
You're thinking, I got a video shoot coming up, and
right.
Like.
It shattered my front tooth. Mm-hmm. So I was really upset. And then I started looking in the mirror and thinking, wait a minute, man, you're playing like a drug kingpin. Those guys have terrible teeth. Drugs completely destroy your teeth. So I told the director, look, do you want me to fix this? He said, no, it's up to you what you want to do. So I had this big broken tooth. You can see it now on Netflix. And I made sure I smiled a lot, you know, so that you could see this guy, some kind of junkie or heroin addict, and his teeth are falling out. So it was like really good. And that's something they teach you in drama school. If anything happens to you, the show must go on, and you use it. Yeah. So I was able to, and I was lucky. I mean, if I'd been playing the president of the United States, I couldn't have done it. But as I was playing a mafia kingpin drug lord, it's not a stretch that his teeth wouldn't be broken. So yeah, I'm happy about it. Yeah, I used it. I used it. But the director of Squid Game saw me in that movie, and they had searched. Look, I mean, they had searched all over Korea, and they couldn't find anyone they want. Then they went into Malaysia and Thailand and all around Southeast Asia for this part of VIP4. They couldn't find anybody. The director saw me in Peninsula. I got a call from somebody saying, would you like to send in a casting? I did it on my cell phone. And it's interesting, the way I did it is not at all the way. Suddenly, when I got on the set without thinking, I became this other guy, the guy you see in the movie. But the first one was a sort of, you have a beautiful face, young man. I don't think you should keep it in a mask. It wouldn't be I played a sort of high class thing.
Sure.
And then in the other was, hey, what are you guys doing? If you can't do 69, I'm going to do 96. I don't know where that came from, but it just happened, you know, on the set.
And they're thinking, you're so American, right?
Yeah. Well, I got some of that shit too, you know, by people seeing all those Koreans, and suddenly there's a big American there.
Yeah, let me pause you for a second. Now, my viewers who are watching this, they're probably thinking, wait a minute, there's an American guy. He's working with a Korean film director. Is Geoffrey, you know, multilingual? Can he speak Korean? And, you know, you're in Thailand. Can, you know, you speak multi languages? How did that work with you on the set?
I don't speak any languages but English. They have a translator there. I didn't see the director. Sometimes the director's right there, which I prefer. And sometimes he was like a quarter of a mile away in some little hut, with all his monitors and stuff. And his first AD would have something in his ear, and the first AD would come and tell me, do this or do that, however it was. So I met the director. I knew the director. I saw the director when we finished, but it wasn't like he personally told me to do this or that. And there's a couple of places, I probably shouldn't mention it, but when I'm about to try to think I'm having sex with that guy, I start going, and it was a little too much. It was just a little too much for me. It's a little too much.
Right.
And I would have liked if there would be a director say, oh, Geoffrey, that's good. Can you just bring it down a little bit? And I just thought it was, now that I said, oh, shit, why didn't I? Because you see, when you're in the moment and there's that pressure on you, and there's 300, you go, okay, well, if this is a good idea, like, but it was too much, and the guy said, hey, that's a good idea, Jeff, just bring it down a little bit. I can see that now. So that's one of the disadvantages of not having an English speaking director there. But there's something I'll tell you that any actor should know and clearly understand. There's an old joke. How do you make an actor complain? Give him a job. So I never complain. I'm very grateful. I'm a little boy from a poor family that now makes movies all around the world and has had some success. I don't take it for granted. It was incredibly hard to get here. It took me, I'm over 65, man. It took me like my whole life to get here. It was just like impossible from the family I came from. There was just people would say, what do you want to do? I want to be a movie star. What are you talking about, man? Your father's a plumber.
You're no John Wayne, look at you.
Yeah,
come on.
Exactly.
Now, Geoffrey, what do you think was the drive where, you talked about, before Squid Game, sitting there, reflecting on your life going, okay, maybe this is the end of my acting career. But what kept you like motivated? Was it, what kept the drive going?
I'm a drama queen. And when I deal with people, they think, why is he acting like that? Why is he so over the top? I'm just a natural born actor. And I don't really have a lot of choices. I own an audiobook company. I write books. There's other things I do, and I sell art. There's other things I can do that I do well, but none of them bring me the pleasure and the sense of fulfillment that acting does. I'll tell you why. Because whenever I act in a movie set, I'm challenging myself. It's a game I play with myself to be better than I was before. Yeah, there's a lot of externals. There's people expecting this and that, and there's other forces on your shoulder. But really, it's just me challenging myself to go farther, stretch myself, do more, become, don't stop acting, don't do, be. So acting I'm very serious about acting. There was some nonsense that I was not a good actor by just people on the internet. It's ridiculous. I'm a good actor, man. Look, Netflix, I tell people, has a great big pair of scissors. Got a great big pair of scissors there, just like this, a little bigger than this in Hollywood. And if you suck, they say, Joe, get the scissors. And they cut your ass out of the movie. I didn't have one word of mine cut out of that movie. Somebody at the top was happy with that.
Right.
So, but we didn't have rehearsals, which I don't understand. I just sat in a hotel room for a couple of weeks waiting to shoot. Well, why didn't they bring the other VIPs over? And we had, we just threw it back and forth for a little bit. And I'll tell you that the movies where I've done that are much better than the ones where they say, okay, you're on the set, action, just do whatever you want to do. It just doesn't make sense not to get together with the people you're doing scenes with and just throw it back and forth for a couple of hours with a pizza.
Right. When you have that, internal relationship and you're comfortable with people, it makes everybody more comfortable on set and better to perform. But
I'm sorry. I met those other VIPs 10 seconds before they said action. I didn't know those guys. And they're
right.
supposed to be my business partners and all that stuff. And I mean, all those days I was in Korea sitting in that fancy apartment waiting to shoot, they just could have said, hey, and I should have said, and I will from now on, listen, man, tell those other guys to come over here. Let's kick this back and forth. I'll buy dinner for everybody and have Chinese and have it delivered, because I know what a difference that makes in the performance. But as I said, how do you make an actor complain? Give him a job. But the thing is, you learn on each job. Absolutely. And now I will know, hey, listen, man, can we get together? Well, there's no budget for that. No. Nobody wants to be paid. We just want to, we want to just kick it around so that we can do a better job for you. Nobody's going to say no to that.
Right. There you go. So you said you're a character actor and you enjoyed playing a variety of roles.
I'm a character actor because I'm not handsome. If I was real handsome, I'd be the other kind. I don't have much choice about it. Go ahead.
So what has been, has it been Peninsula? I know you mentioned you enjoyed that very much, or what has been your favorite role of all time for you? No, it's like picking a kid. I know.
No, it's not. It's not. I know it's the best one. I did a movie with a really brilliant actress on a film that I starred in that was for legal reasons in France, not released, called The Color of the Trap. You can go to my YouTube channel, geoffreygiuliano.com, and see something about dying CIA agent. It was like a 6-minute, very complicated scene where I've got like 4 or 5 things that I'm trying to achieve as the character, all of them dubious and evil, but on the outside I'm being very cordial and stuff. So that was a very complex scene. So I'd say that The Color of the Trap, where it says dying CIA agent, you can watch it, or you can watch it on geoffreygiuliano.com if you go to cinema. And then I suppose the one that made me the most famous before this was Scorpion King 3 for Universal Home Entertainment, where I had quite a big part and got beheaded. So I've been beheaded in 2 movies actually. So there's those moments there's when you're a film actor, it's just down to moments. I can say, look at this moment, look at that moment. It's very hard to have a sustained performance. In Squid Game, my best acting is when I'm sitting down and the guy and he says, they'll kill me. And I said, if you don't do what I say, I'll kill you before I leave. That whole thing where we're sitting there talking is the best part. And also, I'll tell you what, if that what I was thinking, I've never told anyone this. When I was talking to that policeman with the mask on and trying to get him to sit down with me, I was thinking Jack Nicholson. So I said, it could have been like, if you don't do what I say, I'll kill you before I leave, but that was the internal model that I had, was Jack Nicholson. And those are things, again, that you don't plan. Okay, I'm going to kind of borrow a little bit from Jack Nicholson's just feeling, not an imitation, just a slight feeling of how he might do that. Those things just happen automatically on that moment, because if you're an actor, you have a bag of I've been an actor so long, I have a bag of tricks that I've developed that I can access immediately without even thinking. They just kind of come up, so suddenly when I look at it later, I go, oh, I was doing a little tiny bit of Jack Nicholson there.
Nice. Now, you mentioned earlier you didn't even see most of Squid Game, you just saw your scenes. But what I want to point out, as filmmaker and actor, to me, I remember the first time I seen a Technicolor film and like the colors popped and they just looked different. You're going, wow, that looks really cool. Squid Game kind of has a similar, the sets were very colorful, very vivid, and you're watching it going, whoa, like, what is this? I know it's in 4K and shot like, on a red cinema
Yeah.
camera, and this is nice. But for you, while being on the other side, what was your experience like on the set? Did you feel the same
Well,
way?
yes, I absolutely understood that these sets were abnormally good. And when I went into that psychedelic room with penises and vaginas and breasts and buttocks painted all over the wall in a psychedelic way, I thought, wow, someone really did a number here. I mean, and that room was just used one time for 30 seconds. Think about that. But the people were in there probably for a couple of weeks, and artists did the rendering, and then they show it to the guys, and then they paint it very carefully, just as a background on the wall for a minute. That's the kind of dedication. However, this movie grossed $940 million, which is almost $1 billion, and it cost $21 million to make. So it's crazy. And one of the things I did an audio book, which we'll discuss, and I'm writing a book called Squid Game Confidential, probably for St. Martin's Press. And I got a kind of a mean letter from someone in Korea saying, are you trying to monetize your participation in Squid Game? And I said, yeah, I am. Everybody got millions of dollars. I got a check. I got a payday. Of course, I'm going to try to milk this thing and turn it into something else. That's what you do as an actor. And that's how you move the needle. Listen, there's this thing people used to say about me, Geoffrey Giuliano does self-promotion. Well, there's no other kind of promotion. Jesus doesn't do your promotion. If you're a performer, you get some kind of an idea to do promotion. If you have a lot of money, you pay someone else to do it, but it still emanates from you. All promotion is self-promotion. All promotion for an actor is okay, because if you don't do it, nobody will. I had a few people asking me, do you want to do a podcast? Do you want to have a newspaper article? But mostly I sat here at this desk and I made this stuff happen. You got to make stuff happen. Sylvester Stallone once told me, the harder I work, the luckier I get.
There you go. Isn't that true?
Tell you what, one thing, I sent out about 200. Would you like to do an interview with Squid Game actor Geoffrey Giuliano? Not in my name, but through my agent. I sent out personally about 200. I got 2 back. And what were they? The Toronto Star feature color thing, one of the biggest newspapers in North America, and the Tampa Bay Times, which is the biggest newspaper, probably next to the Miami Herald in Florida. So you sit here and you send out 200 pitches and you get 2 back, but they're 2 really good ones, and those lead to more promotion. Exactly. So this is what you have to do in order to make shit happen.
Right. Someone sitting out there, I want to be an actor. Well, go be an actor. Go audition. Yeah. My biggest pet peeve is, because I'll direct short films and whatnot, and aspiring actors come up to me and go, oh, I want to be in your movie. How much are you going to pay me? $1 million? Let me look at your resume first and see, what have you done? Have you taken any theater classes? Have you worked on any short films, student films? Have you done anything? No. Then why am I going to give you $1 million, right? But you got to work in it.
Well, I can remember being young and really good looking with hair down to here and hitchhiking to drama school at the State University of New York at Brockport near Rochester. I lived in Albion. I had to hitchhike. I didn't have a car. I had to hitchhike back and forth, and sometimes I could con some girl and give me a ride home and stuff. No, I don't think any actor that's made it that about has paid more dues than me, because I didn't get any public acclaim. I'm 68 years old. So I didn't get nothing happened until I was 68. And they say, oh, you're so dedicated. Well, I really didn't have much of an alternative. And I had given up hope that anything of significance would happen. But I did take some solace in the fact that, okay, you're a respected character actor. When they need a guy like you, you're the guy they need. They'll come to you. But this whole idea of public acclaim or acceptance is very new to me.
Yeah, different world for sure. Well, before we get into the audiobook, you did something else that was kind of probably a lot of my viewers were probably going, wait a minute, that grin, that smile, the eye shape, I think looks really familiar. And Ronald McDonald, what was your connection with that?
Okay, I just finished my master's degree in acting at the State University of New York in Brockport outside of Rochester. And I was just getting ready to move to somewhere. And I saw a thing up there that said casting for, and you never saw a casting notice at this drama school. It was like the only one I ever saw. And it said casting for the marvelous magical Burger King. So I went and they gave me a script and they said, go out in the hall and come back and sing, I'm the marvelous magical Burger King. Hey, I can do most anything. I like magic and food. That's fun. We got fun for everyone at Burger King.
That sounds like so the 90s, right?
Oh, it sounds like something. I don't know what it is. Like, so anyway, I went out and learned it and I came back in and did it. And then the guy said, go out in the hall. And I could hear him talking on the phone. He said, I got this guy. He said, he's so good. It's like scary, you know, let's hire him. So I became the Burger King. And I went to Hollywood and I did shows and TV commercials and all that. Well, in that world of corporate mascot, people talk and people would say, yeah, Burger King's a good gig, man, but the real one is Ronald McDonald. They pay like 3 times as much. It's a better situation. So I called up McDonald's and I said, do you need a Ronald anywhere? And they said, yeah, actually, we need one for Canada. So I got in touch with somebody and somebody and somebody, and eventually I got this part of Ronald McDonald for Canada. And then when the old Ronald McDonald, whose name was King Moody, that actor, stopped, they gave me the national one. So there was a period where I did all the commercials and I made quite a bit of money. The problem was, ultimately was, first of all, I didn't like the people. They were corporate idiots, really phony and just cared only about money and just weird. That was one thing, but I went along with that. I've worked with a lot of screwed up people.
And if you did it long enough, then you would have been typecast for your next project going, oh, he just does clown stuff. You know?
But there was no chance. Wait. You don't jump in the punchline. But the problem is they found out that I was a vegetarian. So they were afraid it was going to leak to the media that Ronald McDonald's a vegetarian and he doesn't eat the hamburgers. So they said, well, Mr. Giuliano, what's this we hear about vegetarianism? I said, yeah, I didn't think about it. I said, yeah, I'm vegetarian. I don't eat meat. Well, under those circumstances, we can't renew your contract, Mr. Giuliano. So I sued them for wrongful dismissal. I wouldn't give them back the costume. They were really pissed off about that because they thought I'd like appear at a PETA protest with that costume is a big deal. You know, those shoes and everything, it's all done with a lot of security and stuff. So other than being a pedophile, Ronald McDonald is a pedophile. Being a vegetarian is the worst thing you could possibly be. So when they fired me and I sued them and they settled and I won, I said, okay, well, now you can use being Ronald McDonald as a platform to promote vegetarianism and nonviolent lifestyles. So that's what I've been doing ever since.
Amazing. Now let's just jump right in. You have been working busy, for quite some time trying to lay out and organize this audiobook because, the following that Squid Game is getting is, it's enormous right now for film and television shows. And tell us about this audiobook. What are your plans? I know you mentioned some people are unhappy, but yeah.
It's out now. You can buy it anywhere. It's called Surviving Squid Game. I am VIP4. Let me explain to your audience something that they need to understand if they have affection for Squid Game. The stars of Squid Game are all instant millionaires. In the contract that I signed with Netflix, it said that there were 14 stars of Squid Game. I am number 14. I just got in there. I am, according to Netflix's contract, one of the stars of Squid Game. But we all know that the 13 that come before me have a much bigger part and so forth. The other thing we know about them is they don't speak English. And we also know that they live in Korea, that they're surrounded because of the fact that they don't speak English, and they're newly made millionaires. Not huge, $1 or $2 million, not, but plenty. They're surrounded by agents and managers and gatekeepers. You can't get to them. They're not going to do any promotion. The main guy's going to do a little bit, but he doesn't speak English. So how much can he do? Therefore, if you want Squid Game, if you want to know about season 2, if you want to be apprised of what happened behind the scenes in the set, what it all means, then you have to come to me. You have to, I don't care if you like it or not. You have to come to me because I speak English. I'm available. I'm here. And you can't get any other member of that cast to come on your podcast. They just won't do it. They'll go on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon and fool around and wave and Hello Kitty and do a little love thing like that and, do a thumbs up. But that's all they're capable of doing. I'm not putting them down because they just don't speak English. They're Korean people. So therefore, you have to come to me, and I'm a writer, and I'm an actor, and I'm a storyteller. And in this audiobook, which is, as I say, out now, it's called Surviving Squid Game. I am VIP4. You will learn about season 2. You will understand what went on behind the scenes. You'll understand and be part of the process of making Squid Game, what it means on a kind of cultural level. Everything is covered, and it's there for everybody. Now, I've worked on it for 2 months. It was difficult. I had to write it and then record it and edited it. You can get it now for Christmas. I hope you do. You'll like it. And there's a redux version coming out in February or March, which will have we'll have more. I'm going to do some more recording and add to it and augment it a little bit. But it's an important document. There is not now, and there never will be, another book on Squid Game except the one that I wrote. Netflix is not in the business of making books. They're in the business, there's some small chance they could do a coffee table book as a promotional tie-in for season 2, like the Beatles just did with Get Back. They did a book, and then they did this, that's 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years from now. If you want a book now, if you want to buy something for Christmas, if you have a Squid Game fan in your family, just go to Google and put in Surviving Squid Game. I am VIP4 audiobook. It'll come up, and there's a little button there you can push to hear about 2 or 3 minutes of it. So check it out. If you like it, it might be something you might want to download for you or somebody you love at Christmas. I mean, that's basically it.
Yeah. Well, if it's okay with you, we'll play a little sample here so they can just get a little tease. And when we come back, we'll wrap things up, talk a little bit more about the VIP character and a little bit more about what you're going to be doing with Squid Game right after this. So let's go ahead and
let me just tell you one thing right now.
Sure.
You can satisfy me in 5 minutes. I'll change your life. All right. See you in part 2.
This is Geoffrey Giuliano, VIP4 in Netflix iconic hit Squid Game. This is the story, how I became involved with the show, and how it has changed my life. Not long ago, I called my middle daughter Avalon in Portugal from Bangkok. Told her I really needed to speak with her. She said, "I'm so sorry, I'm half asleep." I said, well, let me speak to the other half. And that's kind of what I want to do here today. Speak to the other half that's not yet asleep, so that I can complete the process with this boring tale. Actually, no. I want to speak to everybody that's enamored, quite rightfully, with Squid Game. And everything it seems to mean to people in this time when COVID is ravaging the earth. Many of us have been taken prisoner psychologically by the tyrant Donald Trump, and the aberration which is QAnon and other radical beliefs. A time when children cannot go to school or reasonably go outside and play without fear of them contracting the disease. A time when we've become passive participants in life, inasmuch as we are tethered by our phones and computers to a digital world, while the real world outside seems to be something of an afterthought. A time when it's not really safe to make love in the way it used to be, and when everyone, it seems, is smoking high-octane marijuana, which definitely makes you dopey. A time when politicians promise but seldom deliver. A time of poverty and of obscene riches. A time of global warming to the extent that the earth is now being ravaged by the effects of this, the real plague upon mankind. This is not the result of some sort of aberration of nature like a solar storm that wipes out half the planet. This is our doing. And so we sit, lie, or lounge in our homes, looking into our computer and phone screens, waiting for some revelation, a revelation that does not come. Simply, another perverted reflection of ourselves overtakes us, and we are laid bare. That is the fertile ground upon which the seed of Squid Game took root. And I, through chance or karma or both, was given by Netflix a front row seat. The dark spectacle of Squid Game has touched us all because we could be touched by something so grim, a dystopian future where ultimately every human value was twisted around a dollar, far beyond the dire warning of 1984. Squid Game is predatory, seeks you out psychologically, woos you with the warm ooze of bloody violence, and bathes you in despair. Squid Game is all that, and more as it appeals to the darker recesses of the human mind and psyche. This is my experience of the real Squid Game.
Well, you guys just listened to a little snippet of the audiobook that is out, and VIP number 4. I got to tell you, Geoffrey, you know how some people, they call their fans certain things. Well, since I'm Vinnie, I always called my fans Vinnie's VIPs, VVIPs, and I've been doing that for years. And ironically, your character is VIP number 4. And
I call my fans Vipers, VIP ERS.
There you go.
There's actually a page that they started called VIP4's Squid Game Universe, and it's the only Facebook page that's hosted, and I look at it it's all day, every day. It's up on the top of my screen. It's the only page that's hosted by a member of the cast.
Oh,
so you can directly contact me there. You can contact me at geoffreygiuliano.com, GEOFFREYGIULIANO.com. There's a contact page there. Everything's there. And yeah, so that's kind of the deal.
Very fun, very fun. So, you know, you've been on lots of sets, and I just got to ask you, since we're both actors, What has been your favorite craft service meal that you have ever had?
None of it. I just eat because I'm nervous. I have a weight, when you're sick, look, when you're young, your body is on autopilot and it looks good. You don't have to do anything to maintain it. But I have to do a lot of stuff to try to look like, not like a monster, not even forget about good looking, just like look kind of a little bit okay. Fool around with your hair and color your hair and what am I going to wear and this kind of thing. The older you get, the more you have to rely on more expensive clothes and glasses and, accessories, because you just don't look good anymore. But one of the things I know about being older, being old, I'm not older, I'm already old. One of the things I know is don't try to look young. If you try to look young, you're dead, you have to look your age, but look, you can look cool at any age, but it's harder when you're old. And it's especially difficult because I was handsome when I was young. I have the photographs to prove it. But I remember telling the Thai girlfriend, me handsome when I was young. She said, yes, but handsome finished. I said, oh, okay, I guess it is.
Jeez, that's crazy. So I understand you are, big on meditating. It helps you throughout the periods of your day. And if you were to meditate anywhere in the world, where would that one place be?
India. Okay, so I'll explain to you what kind of meditation I do. I don't do passive meditation where you sit in a solitary place and you're quiet. I do a mantra. And I do the mantra. I try to do it all. The goal is to do it all the time. I've been meditating since I was, however, I was born in 53, however old I was in 1971. So 14 or 15, I've been meditating all that time. I'm a vegetarian. I'm an animal rights activist. I'm an absolute lover of dogs and cows, and I'm against factory farming. I have, when I was young, I used to like psychedelic drugs, like a lot of people in my generation. I don't do that anymore. They're helpful to open the doors of perception, but you can't really go through. You can just get a glimpse at an alternative reality. So when I was rich, I used to own this 40-foot Chris Craft boat. And sometimes we'd be out and we find a nice place and I'd throw the anchor down. And it's on quite a long rope. And so the boat would drift over to the left or over to the right. But then I knew that if I pulled on that rope and that anchor, I could bring it back to the center. So that's what meditation is to me. If I start to wander off, with the things and the pulls of the world, women, it could be anything, going after money too much, whatever it is, that's not really my path that I've chosen in life. I use that anchor of meditation to pull myself back to the center and just kind of start over.
Go, whatever makes you happy and whatever works and whatever makes you feel good, right? There you go. So Geoffrey, I know we can talk about all these other movies and other projects, and we could even do a part 2 one of these days, but tell my viewers, what is the plan? You're going to be promoting this audiobook. I know there's some talks about you doing appearances and doing conventions around the world.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that before we go.
I was smart enough to say to the costume department, can I have the robe that I'm wearing? I didn't know it was going to be a big movie. I just liked the robe. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, yeah. And then they said, no. And I said, well, why not? You said, yeah. Well, because they made the point that if something happened to the footage and we had to refilm, if we gave you the robe and you took it to another country, maybe we have to film an actor from behind or something that looks like you. We couldn't do it because we don't have the costume. We can't do that. It's for security reasons. We got to keep it. But we have another robe exactly like it that we put together, and you can buy that. And I bought it for $800. And with everything, it was like $1,000 or $1,100. And I thought, well, what are you doing, man? You're buying this robe for $1,100? You crazy? Well, now that robe's worth a lot of money. And then at first I was going to auction it for charity. And then I thought, well, then people started coming to me about Comic Cons. So I said, well, wait a minute, I can use that robe and the mask in the Comic Con. So for just some reason, I said, I really wanted that robe. And I had a lot of money because they paid me a lot of it in cash. So I just threw down $1,000 or whatever it was. And I brought the robe home. And so I will be doing Comic Cons all around the world, starting in February, probably in America, but possibly in Europe. But I'll be covering all of America, all around Europe, Australia, Japan, Asia, India.
And it's in your contract that if you do these conventions, that your booth number has to be 69. Otherwise, you're not doing it.
69 or 96. If you can't do 69, you do 96. So that's it. Those are the only two. In fact, I'm gonna when I come out on stage, I'm gonna have the robe on, and when I take it off, I'm gonna have a football jersey that says 69, and then I'll turn around and it'll say 96, and I'm gonna have some sort of white boxer underwear that I'll get an artist to paint an ass on,
There you
and then
go.
so I can drop the robe like I do in the movie, and they can see this 69, 96 shirt and this ass painted on these airbrushed onto these things just for a joke. Well, that's another thing too, is that I'm putting together with some of the writers of The Simpsons that are friends of mine, guy called Gary Apple, a comedy routine. So I'll be doing like a 10 or 15 minute stand-up comedy routine performance at Comic Cons about Squid Game and about being an actor. So, I just thought, well, what are you going to do? Hi, everybody. Hello. Hi. Dude, you're a performer. Get some material and do a shtick for everybody.
There you go. Now, being a writer and an actor, was a 69, 96 in the original script, or was that improvised from you?
Yeah, no, I would never do that. That was all them, and I didn't like it. I still don't like it very much. People have found it funny and cute or something, but when you're 68 and you live in Thailand and have lived here for 20 years, 69 and 96 is, it's old news. It's no big, it's not a big news anymore. And it's, young people like to talk about stuff like that. I've been alive a long time. I've been married many times, it's like, okay, I don't need to be talking about 96 or 69,
Right. So
that was some other dude's idea. It had nothing to do with me.
All right. Well, you not only on Netflix was Peninsula and Squid Game, you did a movie with Woody Harrelson. People can check out. Kate, that's it's still available as far as this interview's up right now. You guys can go check it out. But Geoffrey, what is what's coming up next with those conventions, the audio book, and you never know where we're gonna see you.
A book, an audio book out now. Conventions for years, God willing, and more movies. I just keep doing more of the same. I mean, this is what, when I talk about public acceptance, the reason that we want public acceptance is not to bathe our ego in some kind of attention, but to get further opportunities to work. That's the point of fame. If you're sensible. The point of some level of fame, and I'm not an A-lister, a B, I'm probably like a C-lister, but I now have a profile that's with the public, and if you say to anybody, almost anyone in the world, hey, the gay guy in Squid Game who took his clothes off, everybody knows who I am, They don't know necessarily the name Geoffrey Giuliano, but they know that character. So this is given me an opportunity to continue to work as an actor, and I will work as an actor as long as I can, because that's what I do.
Oh, that's awesome. Well said. Well, Jeffrey, it was great talking to you on this
Thank you.
episode of the Vinnie Langdon Show. Great to lots of knowledge to be shared, and I look forward to listening to that audio book. I know I'm going to go pick it up, and I'm sure my viewers, you guys should take a listen to, especially if you're into Squid Game, or maybe you're just, you got nothing else to do. So great stocking stuffer, and we will see you guys on another episode of the Vinnie Langdon Show. And who knows, maybe one day you might see Jeffrey and I in a movie, and who knows what will happen next. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you soon.